This one for blessed Gambia. The more we work together, the more we celebrate. The more we come together, the more we celebrate. Come on, let's get together. There's a place I love to be. The Gambia, the Gambia.
A date for your diary. Gambian Fashion and Exhibition Weekend. Designers are welcome to register interest. It's all about raising awareness of the fantastic work being done in our community.
Award night, fashion night and exhibition of top class only. This event is sponsored by Gam Designers UK.
Mind the Gap. The face of Gambia worldwide is coming to promote Destination Gambia with a difference to the world through InterFace Gambia TV 2018. Gambia Tour from November 30th to 9th December with your presenter, Mr. Lamin Jammeh, The Jollof Show.
Hello, welcome to InterFace Gambia. I'm your presenter, Lamin Jammeh, with my brand new show called The Jollof Show.
The Gambia Shakau Shakanamrek. This tour is sponsored by Gambia Chamber of Commerce Industry, Gambia Tourism Board, Senegambia Beach Hotel, Gambia Hotel Association, Mr. Yangs Dabor, Mr. Jamil Tarawale, LLB, Honorable Solicitor, Northern Garden Security Limited, Yaye Instant Money Transfer Services Limited, and TJ Fit and Healthy International. With us, the Gambia Shakau Shakanamrek.
Welcome to the exquisite, luxurious Haven residence. It's beautiful, residential, gives you all the serenity that you would ask for, and it's also private. We have furnished luxurious units, which has all the functionalities that you will expect from your home. Our unfurnished unit you can utilize and furnish at your taste for those who will come and become a resident. The kitchen is fitted, including a laundry machine to do your personal washing. We have flexible options of long and short-term stay with complimentary internet access for our short-term guests. Availability of a standby generator for constant electricity flow. 24-hour security service ranging from CCTV surrounding the property. From the rooftop, you can lounge, enjoy the tranquility and the environment. You can see the ocean. Come join us at the Haven Residence, a place of serenity, tranquility, a place that you can call home away from home. Brought to you by Uniglo Properties.
Gambia. I'm your presenter, Lamin Jammeh, with my show called The Jollof Show. Tonight, I've got a very special guest, Mr. Joseph Goswell, commonly known as Joey. Joey Goswell is a qualified lawyer, a historian, and human rights activist. Our research has found that Mr. Goswell has been in the forefront to restore democracy in the Gambia since 22nd July 1994. Mr. Goswell, welcome to the Jollof Show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jammeh. It's a pleasure and honor to be on this special show that you have invited me, and I hope we'll have a very fruitful discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goswell. A lawyer, a human rights activist, historian, a political surrogate of United Democratic Party. That's quite a lot of load. Can you please tell the viewers of InterFace Gambia the credence behind all this? And of course, what is your political evaluation?
Thank you very much. These are features that you've just expressed can only be accomplished with dedication and passion. And as a young lad growing up in Banjul, I had a passion for becoming a lawyer. And I belong to the old school of thought that if you want to be a lawyer, you have to study certain subjects like history, politics, and those are things which I was very good at during my school days. So you would challenge me in any other subject and get away with it, but when it comes to my history and my government and my politics, you're going to have a rough ride. So this is where I built up the passion, and I continued until coming over to this country. But suffice it to say, the evolution. I started following Gambian politics at a very young age, and I doubt whether I have any of my contemporaries that can say they did it the same way. One fine month in April 1977, I was in Banjul at my grandma's place, and I heard this word Monday, 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 Monday. I did not have a clue.
Monday as in the date Monday?
No, hang on.
Okay.
Monday, we Monday, we Monday, we Monday. Not realizing that there was a candidate called H.R. Monday.
Mr. Monday.
He was contesting for the Banjul Central constituency. So I said, Monday, what's happening? And I saw the photos. Elections took place in 1977, of which I was a very young boy. Very young. So the elections were for 2 days. It was on the 3rd and 4th of April. It was an election in which PPP only won 1 seat on the polls itself in Banjul. UP won Banjul South by Dudu Momar Tal against the famous Ivy Gaba Jahumpa. And H.R. Monday lost to the famous J.R. Foster, who was a local preacher and who was also a stone member of the United Party, which is UP. But then I was only in Banjul, as we say, I was just there for a few days because I was living in the Combos. I came back that night at home, and my good old mom had a ledger book,
okay,
with all the names there.
Of the candidates?
Yes. And I was following the results. And my mom put me one side and said, I want you to enter the results. So I started entering the results as they were announced on the radio.
And how old were you at that time?
Well, that's telling you a lot of how old I am. Well, I can say I was very young.
Very young indeed. Okay, that's fine. Let's just keep it there.
Let's keep it there.
Okay.
But I know people who know me will know how old I was.
Right.
And the irony of it was 100 meters from where I lived, the opponent to Oje Jallo, Antoine Jatta, was living. That was where he was living. And then next door, you had Pat Chesen Seka. And then right opposite, you had Alaji Suleiman Jack. So you can see I've been living in an environment where you had all these political heavyweights.
These are quite interesting because these are names that I wouldn't know neither most of the viewers of InterFace.
For the benefit of this audience,
yeah,
Antoine Jatta contested against Oje Jallo, and that was the first time Serekunda East had an election, because in the past Serekunda had only one constituency, but that was the first time when they divided Serekunda East and they had Serekunda West.
So the whole of Serekunda was only one constituency?
Up to 1977.
Right.
Yes. So this was where the passion started. I live in a high road where you see the president roaming about every time. That was the main road from Banjul to International Airport. Anytime there is a big occasion, you see the president around. So I got this feeling about politics anyway. So that is where it started. Unfortunately, a month before the unfortunate events of 30th July, we moved over to Carnifin, where we stayed until I came to England. But by the time I moved over to Carnifin, there was more political awareness in my mind. I started going to political rallies, Well, sneaking, because my mom always used to say, you shouldn't be going out, you're too young for getting involved in politics, but I should sneak and go and watch all these rallies.
So you had passion for politics at a very early age.
Precisely.
That's right.
So I've been following political rallies. I've seen it all. I know all the songs that the NCP used to chant, especially President Bondo Tebaila, which they used to sing. It was a very popular song.
Okay.
And this was where the evolution started. So unfortunately, in 1982, we had an election after the coup. NCP did badly, and it was pretty obvious because...
Why? Why will you say it was pretty obvious that NCP did badly?
Well, you got to understand that it was a post-conflict election. And whenever you have a post-conflict election, the incumbent has an advantage.
Right.
Now, when they went to the polls, it was easy. It was easy for the incumbent to talk about how he's restored peace and how it was risky to allow somebody who was implicated, alleged to be involved in a coup d'etat. You got to understand that a lot of NCP supporters were arrested and detained. Serif Diba was arrested, detained and charged with treason. Jibu Jan was arrested and detained. Kembe Sengjame was arrested and detained.
Kembe Sengjame, the recent Gambian ambassador in Turkey.
Yes, he was.
So he was a member of the NCP party those days.
And he was arrested and detained. And there was this man, Bayo, who used to stand at Salom. He was one time PPP. He went and joined NCP. He was arrested and detained. And a good amount of NCP supporters that I may try to recollect the names. And what also made it easy for the incumbency was the fact that Kukoi was one time an NCP candidate in 1977. So you can
So the leader of then coup d'etat that happened in 1981, which is Kukoi,
yes,
the late Kukoi, was once a member of the NCP.
Certainly.
Interesting.
So there you had this. So when they had the election in 1982, NCP won only 3 seats.
When you say NCP won only 3 seats, help me out. Just within the Gambia or just that constituency which was Serekunda?
No, but they won 3 seats within the Gambia because there were 35 seats. They won only 3 seats. And
the rest of the seats went?
Well, 5 went to the independent candidates.
Right.
And the rest went to
PPP.
PPP. If I can tell you that they won Bakau, they won Ilyasa, and they won Lower Badibu. Lower Badibu was won by Fode Makalo.
That was against my dad.
Fode Makalo and Fode Bajame won in Ilyasa, and Demo by Force won in Bakau. But there were 5 seats that were won by independent, the likes of Buba Balde, Henry Michael Jame, A.K. Toure, and one gentleman in Kiang, something Barrow, won the seats. So this was the political evolution. So I personally felt that election wasn't fair, in my view.
What was the reason? Why did you think that? Because it was the Gambian people that went out to vote, not you in person, but the Gambian. And if I'm right to say, at that point you were very young to be eligible to vote.
Yes.
So why do you think it was unfair?
Well, in the atmosphere in which the elections were conducted, the politics that was used at the time, you had a state of emergency at the time, and I want to believe that some of those laws in which you could be arrested and detained were still in place. So there was a degree of fear from certain people, and I believe when I looked at my statistics, although I wasn't ready for this one, I believe the turnout was very low.
Right.
Because it was a foregone conclusion. And there were so many... NCP was handicapped, to be honest, because NCP prior to 1981 were making a lot of noise, and they were very upbeat that they would defeat Sadaura. But unfortunately, the coup was a setback
for NCP party.
Yes, yeah, and I don't think they recovered from it.
Good. Going forward there, Mr. Gospel, like our previous speaker that we had here some couple of weeks ago, Mr. James Baham, we have gathered following a military takeover in 1994. You guys have fought side together and become a movement to restore democracy in the Gambia, which must have been difficult journey considering one time, sacrifices in professional life. How does this affect you guys, or you as in person?
Well, for me, if I say I started well before the coup, because I was always involved in West African politics.
So when you say you started well before the coup, so you started demonstrating against the former president?
Not against the democracy, not if I explain.
Yes.
I've been involved in activism.
Right.
And I was involved secretly supporting the Nigerian movements that were formed here at the time.
In the UK?
Yes. So I used to go to the rallies, the demonstrations, campaign for democracy. So even a year before President Jammeh, Chairman Jammeh took over, I was already involved with the campaign for democracy, which was fighting for democracy in Nigeria. And for that matter, when Moshood Kashimawo Oliwale Abiola, the chief that won the 1993 election, I was at Trafalgar Square alongside my Nigerian compatriots campaigning for the election results to be released. So I'd already got a feel of this activism. I've already got this vision, or what I will call this passion for it, and I continue to follow. I continued from that end, and when I joined the Gambian contingent, it was more of a continuity.
We have recalled the current Vice President, lawyer Usaini Dabo's visit last year in the town hall, and where Mr. Dabo acknowledged your presence. And
a date for your diary. Gambian Fashion and Exhibition Weekend. Designers are welcome to register interest. It's all about raising awareness of the fantastic work being done in our community.
Award night, fashion night and exhibition of top class only. This event is sponsored by GAM Designers UK.
Imagine a private retreat buried deep in the forest. A special place to relax, recharge, and get in touch with our culture and nature. So go discover the smiling coast of Africa.
Mind the Gap. The face of Gambia worldwide is coming to promote Destination Gambia with a difference to the world through InterFace Gambia TV 2018 Gambia Tour from November 30th to 9th December with your presenter, Mr. Lamin Jammeh, The Jollof Show.
hello, welcome to InterFace Gambia. I'm your presenter Lamin Jammeh with my brand new show called The Jollof Show.
The Gambia Shakau Shakanamrek. This tour is sponsored by Gambia Chamber of Commerce Industry, Gambia Tourism Board, Senegambia Beach Hotel, Gambia Hotel Association, Mr. Yangs Dabor, Mr. Jamil Tarawale, LLB, Honorable Solicitor, Northern Garden Security Limited, Yaye Instant Money Transfer Services Limited, and TJ Fit and Healthy International. With us, the Gambia Shakau Shakanamrek.
Welcome to the exquisite, luxurious Haven residence. It's beautiful, residential, gives you all the serenity that you would ask for, and it's also private. We have furnished luxurious units, which has all the functionalities that you'll expect from your home. Our unfurnished unit you can utilize and furnish at your taste for those who will come and become a resident. The kitchen is fitted, including a laundry machine to do your personal washing. We have flexible options of long and short-term stay with complimentary internet access for our short-term guests. Availability of a standby generator for constant electricity flow 24-hour security service ranging from CCTV surrounding the property. From the rooftop, you can lounge, enjoy the tranquility and the environment. You can see the ocean. Come join us at the Haven Residence, a place of serenity, tranquility, a place that you can call home away from home. Brought to you by Uniglow Properties.
Yo, this one for a blessed Gambia. The more we work together, the more we celebrate. The more we come together, the more we celebrate. Come on, let's get together. There's a place I love to be. The Gambia, the Gambia.
We have recalled the current Vice President, lawyer Usaini Dabo's visit last year in the town hall, and where Mr. Dabo acknowledged your presence. And Mr. Dabo acknowledged your presence and your loyalty to the United Democratic Party by extend to the Gambia over the past 22 years. You were openly invited to return to the Gambia to help in rebuilding the Gambia, especially in the judicial system in the Gambia, whereby it's now been very Gambianized. What are you waiting for?
Thank you very much. For the benefit of the audience, I am really honored to be asked to go and serve my country. And as all things have its time and moments, it was a good offer. It's something which I've looked into and something which I will, when the time comes, I will go.
When will that time come?
Well, that's a big question for me. At the moment, there are other issues which need to be resolved before I step foot. But the problem is, it has always been a dream that one day I will go and serve my motherland, as I call it, because I am very passionate about the Gambia. And it's not something I would like to do lightly. I like to do it with a passion, with sincerity, because at the end of the day, this is our country. When we go, we have to contribute. And having said so, even though I'm here, I'm still contributing to Gambia. I still consider myself a self-imposed ambassador. I'm not a goodwill ambassador. I'm a self-imposed ambassador.
That's right.
I will go and promote Gambia as much as I can. I am not looking for any favors for this. I think it is my moral obligation as a patriot to stand firm and make sure my small country's image is not tarnished.
Considering your social online media activities, what is your current assessment with the UDP-led coalition government? Are we in the right direction with this government going forward, the Gambia?
Well, I hate to say it, that I do not like to call it a UDP-led government, because it's a coalition government. Because
well, you can agree with me or most of the views of InterFace Gambia and of course the Jollof Show. Most people will say that it's a UDP-led coalition government.
Well, what do you mean by UDP-led coalition? Adama Barrow resigned from the UDP, stood as an independent candidate. If we wanted to have a UDP-led government, we would have had a party-led alliance, which ever since has been our position, but this is not something which other political leaders appreciate or want to have. So I will call it a coalition government.
No, the reason I've got a question on that. We will come to that. But Barrow himself, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, see himself as a UDP.
Well, yes, he sees himself as a UDP, but legally he is not UDP because he has resigned from UDP.
Right.
So we have to take it from there that at present, based on the legal framework, he is an independent. He's there to represent PPP, PDOIS, GMC, GPDP, NRP, UDP. So it's there for all of us.
That's right.
Yes. So this government, you cannot. And when you look at the breakdown of the cabinet posts and all stuff, you see that it's not a UDP government, because the problem is how many cabinet ministers have we got there? How many cabinet ministers have we got there? We're not the majority. If they go to cabinet and they say, okay, let's have a vote, the UDP bloc could be defeated easily. But I don't know this conception about this being called a UDP-led government. I am not comfortable with it. I would prefer it to be called a coalition government.
You would prefer it to be called a coalition government.
Yes, but it was elected on those bases. So I think it is time for us to rectify that. It may be seen as sort of political correctness, but we need to give it the correct definition.
So you're trying to say that everything has been politicalized behind it,
well,
to say that it's a UDP-led coalition government?
I mean, unfortunately, this is what has happened, and it's politics. People will say this. When things are going well, they said the coalition. When things are going bad, they say this UDP government. So you can't, you don't know where you stand when you talk about whether this government is a coalition government or not. You need to understand that they had a framework which was agreed by all of them.
Now we have seen fractions and tension building up between the young youths and borough youths movement against United Democratic Party. Mr. Gospel, where or which camp do you belong to?
Well, first and foremost, looking at me, I'm too old to be a youth.
That's right.
So I cannot be a member of what you call borough youth movement.
You don't need to be a youth to be a movement, to be part of the movement.
Well, I mean, the problem is you're telling me which camp do I belong to.
Yes.
I'm not telling you, well, all I know is at the moment, we have a political party called the United Democratic Party, for which I support sincerely and passionately. Now, I will need to be convinced. I'm yet to be convinced why I should abandon the United Democratic Party, a legitimate organization, an organization that's been tried and tested for 22 years and still resilient, for a movement that has just been formed last 18 months. I am not desperate, and I'm sure some of my compatriots are not desperate. I joined a party with conviction, and that's what I still want, because at the moment, we are hearing from those supporters within that movement saying that it's not a political party. So it could just be a social group. So why should a social group be in conflict with a political party?
But then that takes us back. If you say it is not a political party, it takes us back to the former government where we have the July 22nd movement, which was really behind the APRC party.
Yes.
So where does this one stand as the youth, borough youth movement?
Right. As I said, President Barrow is not a member at the moment.
Of any political party. That's right. Yeah.
UDP has its youth movement, which is part of our constitution. We have a youth movement, we have the women's wing. Now, I've seen these movements before, and with due respect to the BYM as they call them, if these movements are being formed, we've seen where they end. July 22 movement, one fine day, Yahya Jammeh said he's going to scrap it because it became unfashionable. We realized there was another movement called the National Democratic Action Movement, NDAM, all against UDP. What happened? It did not last. So UDP, as far as I'm concerned, is an institution, and a strong institution, and should not be concerned about movements. Because Usain Dabo could come tomorrow and say, I'm forming Usain Dabo's youth movement. Well, I would consider whether I should join that movement, because I do not support. I don't believe in the politics of personalities. I believe in the politics of principles. And that's why I stay to the UDP until I am convinced that there is a better party that can replace UDP.
Now, do you share the public statement of President Adama Barrow that he should be adopted as the United Democratic presidential candidate come 2021?
Well, the United Democratic Party has what we call a constitution. And the constitution has made it very clear as to how we elect a leader. And I'm sure President Barrow does understand how he was elected as our flag bearer. Now, that process should not be made easy for anybody. If you say we're united and we're democratic and we're principled, we should make sure that we go through the normal tenets of the Constitution. This business about, yes, he has to be adopted, well, I wouldn't want to say anything for now. I would rather keep it to myself, but I think we have a process. We're having a Congress in 3 weeks or 2 weeks' time, which will decide the party structure again. And therefore, it is unfair, it's unhealthy for us to start talking about 2021. I think all of us, all Gambians, want President Barrow to be a success story after 22 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, yes,
and it's
absolutely.
Fortunate that we are distracted with this issue about 2021. Before you talk about 2021, please deal with the burning issues of the day, of which people are eager to know and eager to have the confidence in this government. And let me say it quite clear, we only have one government. And
that's the UDP-led coalition government.
No, we have a coalition government.
Okay, you will not agree with me, that's fine, but that's the UDP-led coalition government,
but it
as most people would say.
Well, that's their interpretation, and I'm sure if you did a census, you will know that the people who say that are in the minority.
Okay, that's what you say.
Well, I am pretty sure about that. There's a people that will say that, because that's how they can caricature UDP. Because if things were going well, nobody will tell you that this is a UDP-led government.
Okay.
So now certain things have happened and they say, oh, this is UDP-led government. I think it's unfair. So I would rather we call it the coalition government, because if it fails, all of them have failed.
That's true.
Yes. And it would be unfair for us to take one paintbrush and put it all on UDP and say it's UDP's fault.
That's true. Mr. Joey, Gambian politics has been pluralized on identity, religion, sectarian, and what have you, as an historian, what do you think is the cause of this, and what will be the way forward?
In all honesty, we used to have what we call sectarian politics in the 50s, 60s, and that was because of certain issues of marginalization. And I take, for instance, I give you one example. When you had the Muslim Democratic Congress by Gaba Jahumpa, Muslims were alienated, even though they're popular. They made 80% population, and he had a legitimate cause from his political party. And what happened? The PPP thought also that they come from the rural areas, but they were not in best size of the cake. And they formed a political party and called it Protected People's Party and move over. Now, all these things have happened over the years. What I want to say is this. Our laws do not allow us to form sectarian parties. You cannot form a Mandinka party.
That's true.
You cannot form a Fuller party. You cannot form a Creole party. You cannot form a Wolof party. Because the Constitution specifically denies you. That's why when you register in a political party, you need to have signatories across the board. You just cannot go and say, oh, I'm forming a political party. Maybe prior to 1994, 96, this was the norm. You can just stand up in Tabokoto and say, I form a political party, and people follow you. But you can't. Now, if anyone says he's forming a political party because he's been marginalized, I feel sorry for him, because he's not addressing the issue. There are 9 political parties in there. 9. And if you think
A date for your diary. Gambian Fashion and Exhibition Weekend. Designers are welcome to register interest. It's all about raising awareness of the fantastic work being done in our community.
Award night, fashion night and exhibition of top class only. This event is sponsored by Gam Designers UK.
Yo, this one for a blessed Gambia. The more we work together, the more we celebrate. The more we come together, the more we celebrate. Come on, let's get together. There's a place I love to be, the Gambia,
Welcome to the exquisite, luxurious Haven residence. It's beautiful, residential, gives you all the serenity that you would ask for, and it's also private. We have furnished luxurious units, which has all the functionalities that you would expect from your home. Our unfurnished unit you can utilize and furnish at your taste for those who will come and become a resident. The kitchen is fitted, including a laundry machine to do your personal washing. We have flexible options of long and short-term stay with complimentary internet access for our short-term guests. Availability of a standby generator for constant electricity flow. 24-hour security service ranging from CCTV surrounding the property. From the rooftop, you can lounge, enjoy the tranquility, the environment, you can see the ocean. Come join us at the Haven Residence, a place of serenity, tranquility, a place that you can call home away from home. Brought to you by Uniglow Properties.
Imagine a private retreat buried deep in the forest. A special place to relax, recharge, and get in touch with our culture and nature. So go discover the smiling coast of Africa.
Mind the Gap. The face of Gambia worldwide is coming to promote Destination Gambia with a difference to the world through InterFace Gambia TV 2018 Gambia Tour from November 30th to 9th December with your presenter, Mr. Lamin Jammeh, The Jollof Show.
Hello, welcome to InterFace Gambia. I'm your presenter Lamin Jammeh with my brand new show called The Jollof Show.
The Gambia Shako Shakanamrek. This tour is sponsored by Gambia Chamber of Commerce Industry, Gambia Tourism Board, Senegambia Beach Hotel, Gambia Hotel Association, Mr. Youngs Dabor, Mr. Jamil Tarawale, LLB, Honorable Solicitor, Northern Garden Security Limited, Yaye Instant Money Transfer Services Limited, and TJ Fit and Healthy International. With us, the Gambia Shako Shakanamrek.
You think you can change situation, you can join one of the parties. Gone are the days when we sit back and expect to be given favors on the silver plate. We need to get involved. And I'm saying this because I have personal experience. People say, oh, is this tribe only enjoying? Well, you're not taking part in the decision process. You're not getting involved in the work. Look, I'll give an example. The local government elections held in May, April-May.
Yeah.
There were 407 candidates. And from my estimate, excuse me, only 9 women contested. And also, from my estimate, not more than 5 Christians contested. Now, you cannot blame saying that you've been marginalized.
So what do you think is the reason for that if the Christian hasn't contested? Is it that they've been sidelined or they're not interested in Gambian politics? Because that takes us back to, I will agree with you on this point because the late Femi Peters was a prominent member of Gambian politics.
Yes.
Since the days of, if I'm right, NCP?
GPP.
GPP,
yes.
And then NCP?
No, he never been NCP.
He never been to NCP, but the United Democratic Party, I know he was a member until
the opportunities are there. James Cummins.
Yeah.
James Cummins.
Former mayor of Banjo.
PPP, he was involved in politics.
Yeah.
The names, there's so many of them. But this new generation that we have do not take politics as serious as it should be. The decision to sit back and say, okay, let them get on with it. And then when they get on with it, you start saying, oh, we've been marginalized. It's quite unfortunate. We've had demonstrations here where myself, with others, and I will be told, oh, Yange Topani in Wolof. You they follow them where?
You they follow them where?
Yes.
Them Maninko.
Well, I wouldn't call it yet because our group,
yeah,
when we were going out, there was no such thing as tribe. That's something I know you may wish to tell on. There was not a chat because you had the James Bahum who was a Creole, you had Malik Ka who was a Wolof, you had
Malik Ka
and all those stuff. All those people,
Abdullah Job,
Job, and many others. So this issue about ethnicity was never a problem. What was the problem was it was a patriotic stance that we took. And if you are patriotic about your country, why not take part in party politics? It's there, you join a party, you go in and say, look, this is the political party, I like this party, but I can do something. I can help you. I think I can make a difference, and get involved and do a lot for that party. And you get recognized, you get appreciated, and if you're fortunate, you get elected. And that's how you enter the political field. You don't sit back and expect you to be given a portfolio just because you're disadvantaged. No. The conditions are there for people to participate. It's time for the ethnic groups that think that they've been marginalized to take the stance and participate. I will not subscribe to this bit of saying that they've marginalized us. Although the present government, an oversight was made when they had nominees in the National Assembly, made an error in which they forgot to nominate a single Christian. That was unfortunate. But on the other hand...
So you can see the reason why people are saying this, or Christians are saying these things. I mean, you can understand the point that they're coming
Well, I understand that, but the problem is I would rather prefer to be elected than be nominated.
Right, okay.
I would prefer to be elected than be nominated.
Why?
Because I feel that I have the mandate from the people. I have the mandate from the people. I feel very, very passionate that I am a Creole, and up to today, one Creole hasn't won a seat outside Banjul.
But then but it is the fact that the queues are purely based around the greater Banjul area. The moment you leave outside Banjul, it's going to be difficult to have a candidate. Yeah.
When S.J. Oldfield contested in Bakau, he contested in Bakau in 1960 or 62 against that. He never won. But today we have migrated, and when you migrate, you get involved with the people. And when you get involved with the people, they bestow trust on you. It's not about you standing there and say, I want to be your MP. You want to be my MP, but you have to engage with the people.
Have a relationship with the people.
If you don't have a relationship with the people, you never win.
That's true.
And I see it now that, now in Banjul, especially Banjul Central, once upon a time, it was a safe haven for Creole candidates. The situation has changed now. It's changed, the dynamics have changed, so there is a newfound constituency that we have to get, and we can only get it if we engage with the people. And I think it's only fair that now we can say, okay, I go to Burusubi, I got all my people there, engage with the people, get involved in youth work, get involved in charity work, and the people might think of voting you in. I call myself as a Canifinite because I spend the best part of my youth life in Canifin, and if the opportunity had arisen, I would think about saying, let me go and stand in Canifin, because that's my domain. Place.
That's true.
So people have to get involved wherever they are if they want to make political change.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joe. Mr. Goswald, being a UDP surrogate, a lot has been said about the United Democratic Party being a Mandinka party. What is your take on this? And what really motivates you to have this strong beliefs in United Democratic Party? And what's going to be your message to the people as well?
Right. The first thing I have to say is that, as I said in previous questions, is that in the Gambia, you cannot form a political party based on any ethnicity. And I explained to you the process of which the party is registered. So it is unfortunate that UDP is being wrongly painted or wrongly tainted as a Mandinka party. If you look at the setup of UDP, how it was founded and how it operates, there's no such thing as a Mandinka philosophy involved. And I'm sure the people that are in the leadership of UDP will not tolerate an ideology which is based on any ethnicity. It's a broad-based national movement, turned out to be a political party, of which all Gambians are invited to participate in. Now, the unfortunate situation is this. At the time when UDP was founded, it created a scare for the incumbent chairman, Captain Yaya Jammeh. And in his desperate moments, he had to use the tribal card to gain support. By saying that UDP is a Mandinka party, some people had a fear that this party was built or established in order to sustain an ideology based on ethnicity. But when you look at the history of the party itself, the founding fathers of the party, and where the party was even conceived, it had nothing to do with any ethnicity. Honest and capable Gambians came together, founded a political party, and decided that they will select Hussein Dabo as their leader. Now, if you look at the executive that was founded, that was with that party up to 2010, it was diverse. You look at all the executive members, it was diverse. You had the women there, Jollof, the Creole from Peters, you had Yaya Jallo, you had Ajiyam Seka, you had Singul Nyasi.
The late Singul Nyasi.
The late Singul Nyasi.
Okay.
And even when Adama Barrow contested for the flag bearership, he had to contest the flag bearership with somebody from Foni. That goes to show you that the party is as diverse. But unfortunately, President or Chairman Jammeh, as I would like to call him, thought it was sensible for him to use the tribal paint and pour it on UDP. And some people have fallen for it. I know as a fact that UDP is a diverse organization. And it's open to every Gambian. If you want to join UDP and don't use the tribal card. It's very unfortunate and it's unhealthy. Now, the other question you said about, if I recall, you talked about if we repeat the question again.
Well, I said the UDP party, you being a UDP surrogate, which everyone has mentioned in the Gambia. Most people have mentioned in the Gambia that UDP is a Mandinka party, which you have just clarified now. But what is your take on the critics that are going to still believe that UDP?
Well, it's an easy weapon to use, and it's up to sensible Gambians to fight against this so-called negativity. You see, this was the same thing that they were saying about NCP. NCP is a Mandinka party. It wasn't, because you had so many Wolofs that were involved in the party, but they wouldn't come out. And people were saying, oh, NCP is a Mandinka party. Well, PPP was led by NCP, a Mandinka party. When you say PPP is a Mandinka party, it's not. NCP wasn't. As I said, you cannot succeed in the Gambia forming a party based on an ethnicity. Once you do that, you alienate your supporters, you alienate the party. And that's why when you look at UDP at the moment, next 2 weeks we'll have a congress, and I'm hopeful you will see the diverse nature of the party. At the moment we even doing well in Banjul, we've been doing well in Foni. We haven't won seats in Foni yet. But when you look at the results of the National Assembly elections, and the local government elections, we are making headway. And if we are making headway, definitely that goes to show that even the non-Mandinkas are now realizing that this is not a Mandinka party. It's open to everyone. If you want to join the party, if you want to contribute towards the party, you're more than welcome to do so. But don't sit back and say, oh, it's a tribal party. I will not associate myself with a tribal party. And I will not subscribe to a tribal ideology, because I consider myself as a Gambian force and a Creole second. in our passports, we do not say ethnicity, they say Gambian. And that's what we should always bear in mind.
I think this is a very important point. The reason I'm saying that, if you look at Africa as a whole, most countries that are going under tribal or civil wars is purely based on either religion or tribal. So we really have to be very careful as Gambians, to be very careful on certain things that we say. Because most of what really also comes into mind is there's lots of political leaders or political figures, things that they will say behind closed doors will never come out and say it in the public. But going forward, Mr. Joey, we have seen recently the PPP is restructuring again,
yes,
calling their former party members that have joined the United Democratic Party in the results of 1996 Jammeh APRC degree ban on PPP, NCP and GPP. Going back, what's your take on this one?
My take on this is it's a noble idea that they're trying to restructure themselves. They our country is a democracy, and it's a multi-party democracy, and I will not sit here just because I'm a UDP fan to say that they should not restructure. They should. It's up to the people to think whether PPP is still fashionable. Once upon a time PPP was fashionable. Now the question is PPP still fashionable? That's for the people to decide. As you know, sovereignty lies with the people. I wouldn't want to come here and start saying, oh, they shouldn't. But having said so, politics is all about generation.
Right.
And you've got to understand that when the United Party, when you had the United Party, you went for a certain generation when it became a fashion.
Which was the UP.
Yes, and then in the end, it died out.
Just remind us, who was the former leader? Pierre Njai?
Pierre Sanjay, yes.
Thank you.
So, it may be, they may be lucky, they may do well, and I wish them well, because in politics, there should not be any enmity. I prefer my UDP, but if PPP wants to excel, rejuvenate the party, fair enough. But all I know is that when they come to the battlefield, there's a yellow boys there waiting for them that will do it in the nicest way, in the spirit of maturity and fairness. We have personally, I will not be subscribing to a party that has any grievance against PPP. It's their divine right to restructure the political party. And I think it's about time. And it gives me, the reason why I'm saying that no one will now, it gives us our independence. For far too long, people were thinking that UDP cannot survive without PPP and the other parties. But over the years, we've gained our independence. We've become an independent institution, and we can stand on our own feet now. We can no longer rely saying, oh, we rely on PPP. We're getting our own supporters, we're winning our own seats, and that is an achievement for the party, which we should all celebrate. There were times when we used to rely on PPP surrogates. It may be,
so the UDP used to rely on PPP surrogates?
Yes. But when I'm in certain areas, you know, now those people have either abandoned politics or really absorbed themselves into the UDP structure and have less business with PPP. So that's a healthy move, and I wish PPP well. In fact, it would be nice even if GPP was to come back again into the political field, because all these parties had very good proposals for the democratization of the Gambia. So I will welcome.
Now I'll bring your question back to that. Historically, what brought the ban that Jammeh has imposed on these political parties in 1996?
Well, if you look at President Jammeh, or Chairman Jammeh, I always have to call him Chairman Jammeh when we deal with this, with the history.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman Jammeh took over in 22nd July and decided to adopt military regimes, the type of politics that were practiced in other African countries. And having looked at President Jammeh in totality, Chairman Jammeh and his council, it all reminds me of Jerry Rawlings.
Of Ghana, former president.
And it all reminds me of Ghana itself. And what you have to understand is that when Kwame Nkrumah was toppled in 1966, CPP was banned. And the banning of CPP, which is the Convention People's Party, went on for a long time before the ban was lifted. So that's one area where I have the feeling that's where Jammeh got that politics. Now, number two, Chairman Jammeh knew that the environment wasn't conducive for him to have all these parties. And I want to believe that when in July or June, when Hassan Musa Kamara, Sirif Diba, Kemesen Jammeh, Femi Peters, Fodiba Jammeh, D.A. Jawo, and few others wrote a letter telling Chairman Jammeh that we should return to civilian rule as soon as possible and it's non-negotiable. I realized that this was a bad move.
So these group of people that you've just named actually wrote a letter to former President Jammeh to return the Gambia to civilian rule.
They said it's non-negotiable. It should happen as soon as possible.
So they have mentioned in that letter that the return should be non-negotiable.
Yes, I still have the letter, and that letter did give an indication that NCP and GPP had a working relationship.
Right.
And that letter, in my view, did make Jammeh second thoughts as to how to address the issue about return to democracy. And when the referendum was held on the 7th of August 1996, 2 days after that, President Jammeh, or Chairman Jammeh, and the AFPRC Council introduced Decree number 89.
Was that decree in the Constitution of the Gambia or not?
Well, decrees were not part of the Constitution of the Gambia. The decree was to proscribe the three main political parties and also anyone who has been a cabinet minister under the First Republic was banned from partisan politics. So somebody like Kalilu Singate, who was a minister in 1970 up to 1977, was even banned by the law to participate in politics. So that was what happened.
So they gave themselves the right to impose a ban on all political parties on those days.
Well, you got to understand that when they took over, they suspended the Constitution. If you look at Decree number 1, it did say that the Constitution has been suspended and certain sections were suspended. So when it came to political activity, you had Decree number 4, which banned political activity. All the political parties were banned. So when they returned to civilian rule, referendum, it was right for them to restore the political parties, but they refused. And what they did was they imposed a Decree 89. And by introducing Decree 89, it made it a criminal offense for any of them to form a political party or to participate in partisan politics. So in that end, there was a huge vacuum, political vacuum, because you got to understand that if you're a minister, no hope. But if you're a parliamentary secretary, you stand a chance. So a good core of our politicians that we knew in those days were banned from active political
So one can say this is where the rise of United Democratic Party started coming up.
Precisely, that's where it came from, because as if I haven't mentioned it to you, but up to 1994, I was a staunch member of the Gambia People's Party.
Right.
And the Gambia People's Party was affected. And we felt very bad about it. But I'm made to believe that our leader at the time, the late Asad Kamara, did urge all his supporters to rally behind GPP and UDP. And Sirdiba did the same. Those of the people that were in the PPP hierarchy, they did the same as well to come and form this UDP. And that's how UDP came about.
And why did the UDP and other political parties legitimize this decree that Jammeh has imposed?
Well, I wouldn't say legitimize. I think it was a difficult one.
How difficult was it?
Well, the problem is if the political parties had not taken part, legitimization, we saw it in Ghana when Professor Aduboahene decided not to take part in the 1992 elections. And what happened? They still went ahead and they were still given this. You have to take part in the process. Sovereignty lies with the people. If the people are fed up, people will vote them out. And that's what happened. People were taught UDP within 2 weeks had 36% of the vote. So that goes to show you that
within 2 weeks?
Within 2 weeks of campaigning, they had 36% of the vote. That goes to show you that if people are determined, they will vote you out. And we last saw in the last election, with all the advantage APRC had, they lost. And just imagine if it was done on a level playing field, Barrow would have finished Jammeh on the polls. So I always believe that sovereignty lies with the people. We cannot sit down and say, oh yes, because of this, that's what happened. And in this situation, we can also say that it didn't stop others to enter the political field and take up the struggle. Where were the intellects? We had so many intellects that were there that could have taken up the struggle and said, no, why should we rely on the political, because these political parties are bad, that's it. But you got intellects there, you got people that can enter politics. And that's the main problem.
Now that will take me to the next question that I'm going to ask you. Why do you think that when it comes to Gambian politics, it seems to be the fact that all the elders are more interested in politics than the youths today?
I think it's more of a generation thing.
Okay.
And I think that it's more of the lack of awareness. But I think over recent years, and it also lies with the parties itself. I wouldn't like a party to say that I have a youth movement and all you do is just dancing and roaming about, being part of the convoy and singing and all that stuff. They should be involved in the decision-making process. I would like to see that we have more youths in the houses, National Assembly, more youths as councillors, and that's how you move the country forward. And there should be opportunities for the youth. There should be a policy by these political parties to say, in our quota, we will make sure that 10% or 15% of our candidates will be from the youths. And this has been reflected already. I mean, Taib Bensouda is one of the youngest mayors in West Africa, from nowhere. And you see, and if you look at other areas in Banjul, the councillor Gay, one of the youngest. The MP for Banjul Central now is a young lad. The MP for Banjul South, Tuma, they're all youths. So it's time for us to get the youths involved. I would love to see the parties come together on one platform and advocate for youth participation in party politics. Or else we'll continue having this problem where it's the old generation that will take it on. And by taking it on, then they will never have the vision as to how to build up this country. MC Cham, when he was MP, I understand he was the youngest MP, around 21 or 25, less than that. What is stopping our generation what is stopping you or myself from taking part? Although I'm not a youth anymore, but other people are not ready to take part in the process. And that's a concern. We have the youth parliament. We should be doing more through civic education so that Gambians could participate in the process, youths in particular.
Because that is very important. Because youths play a very important role when it comes to, because if you look at this political structure in West Africa, youth not seems to be very interested. But just go to some other countries around West Africa, you will see that youths are participating a lot compared to the Gambia. You go to the neighboring country, Senegal, which I always like to take example, not because of anything, but because they are neighbors to us. So youth in general needs to take part in politics in the Gambia. Because if you look at all these parties today, I will take a bright example of your party, United Democratic Party. Who is next in line today? If lawyer Ousainou Darboe was to decide that he's not going to contest as a presidential candidate, I know there's loads of people behind closed doors who hasn't made their interest clear to the public yet, but just to mention the importance of youths involving in party politics.
Yeah, that's precisely true. And you know, when you're looking for a candidate, it always comes as a surprise. And I know when Taib Bensouda came up, it came as a surprise to so many people, because everybody thought it was Papa Ndiaye that was going to be the
mayor of KMC.
The mayor of KMC, but it ended up being Taib Bensouda. And no one thought about Rohilo. Rohilo ended up becoming the mayor of Banjul.
Banjul, yeah.
So all these things will come as a surprise. Some people would like to keep it to themselves and wait for the ideal time. If something happens, I am sure somebody will come up. Just like when Ousainou Darboe was convicted and they thought the game was over, Adama Barrow and many others came up in the front. So I am pretty sure that if Ousainou Darboe was to say, my time is up, I'm quitting, somebody competent, somebody dynamic will come up, because the party is diverse and there's so many people that can take over the reins of office.
Please take us back into the start or the rising of United Democratic Party, which is the UDP, which is your party today, and most Gambians, or majority of Gambians. Now, who were behind the council that formed the party to select Ousainou Darboe? Because research has shown or tells us that actually the members of that council were not even Mandingas. One or two.
Well, I am for fear of not calling wrong names or missing out some names, I will just give a brief synopsis. There were, according to the information I gathered, there were people like Kanyi Toure, Member Tabedu, Ansumana Diba, Lamin Keba Jame of
Badibu,
and Ibundao, Pesenjai,
former PPP candidate for Banjul Central.
Those are all of them that were got involved in mobilizing the party at its infancy. And there was somebody else by the name of Malamin Sonko, who worked at Action Aid, and he was one of the people involved. But the beauty of UDP was you had some of the technocrats like Ibu Mane, Bolong Sonko, Amadou Tal, Mariam Dentin. So it was a broad-based organization. How they could do it is still a mystery to me, but they got it right. All I could tell is I sat here and I got the feedback that Ousainou Darboe has been asked to be the front runner or the flag bearer for the party. And he accepted it. So it's not Ousainou Darboe's party. And it's a party for everybody, of which you can join, me can join, everybody can join. So that's where you got Yaya Jallow as well, who was PAMSEC. He was the deputy leader of the party.
Right.
That's where the party evolved. And that's made the party so unique in the eyes of people at the time.
Mr. Goswell, what would you tell the critics that still wants to know why are you so passionate about the party that they've already labeled to be a tribe or a Mandinka party, despite the fact that you've said it is against the constitution of the Gambia to have a party based on tribe or religious base. What would you tell your critics?
I'm very passionate of whatever I do. If I tell you my childhood, I was a supporter of Kwame Football Club, which I supported until its demise, even though it was one of the worst football clubs you can ever talk about, but I was just passionate. I would support this club, whatever. And even as a Banjulian, people used to say, what's wrong with him? Why is he supported? When I support a political party or a movement, I show passion and dedication.
Until?
Well, until time allows.
Okay. Even if you see something wrong, you wouldn't?
Well, I will work. I believe that if this party is not doing right, I make my position clear to them. It takes a lot for me to resign from a movement or party willy-nilly. I am not a political butterfly that will go from one end to another looking for salvation. I join a political party. I believe the party has very strong policies which need to be articulated for people to understand. Our party policies are there on our websites, in our manifesto. We need to sell these things out for people to understand. I think that's where the misconception comes with people saying that UDP is a Mandinka party or UDP is an old-fashioned party. But we have good intentions for the Gambian people, and it's already reflected in the way our mayoral candidates are performing. I mean, classic example, Rohi Low is making a slow pace, steady pace in Banjul, which is very promising. Tai Bensouda is doing the same thing, and that goes to show that this is what we can do in local government. If we are to take over central government, we will do more. So the future is bright for UNDP, and that's why I have no intention of abdicating from something which we have worked to build over the last 22 years.
Finally, to come to my final question, Mr. Gospel, will the people of the Gambia see President Adama Barrow as the UDP flag bearer or lawyer Usaini Dabo come 2021?
Good question. As I said to you, the UDP has rules and regulations, and we will go by our rules and regulations on how we select a flag bearer. And unfortunately, if the rules say Mr. X should be the leader, he'll be the leader. If he says Mr. X should not be the leader, he shouldn't be the leader. Don't forget, it's a democratic party. It's not owned by Usaini Dabo, it's not owned by Adama Barrow. It's owned by all Gambians. So we have to go through the process, which is in our constitution. If you look at section 12 and section 6 of our constitution, it specifically states the criteria on how you select a candidate. Now, those tenets have to be complied with, or people like us will take it up with them. Mr. Dabo has never been handpicked. He had to go through the process, and the executive would say yes or no. Adama Barrow went through the process, and he was made a flag bearer. He's no longer, he's resigned to take up the coalition. At the moment, we should not even be talking about succession, because he is already in as an independent candidate. And it puts him in a very funny position, as if he's only thinking about UDP. That shouldn't be an issue for him. What we want,
but you never know, he might be interested to be the flag bearer.
If I explain what Gambians want to know at the moment is implementation of the National Development Plan, of which we've been giving pledges of 1.3 billion euros. I think that's what people want to know. I think when you look at it, the expectation of people was very high. And we sit here in our quiet moments and we're talking about succession. I mean, I find that very disturbing. I think we shouldn't be talking about succession. We should be talking about implementation of National Development Plan.
Yeah, but that's in the interest of the Gambian people, Mr. Gospel. Gambian people want to know, or even United Democratic Party supporters, one will say, they people want to know, because as we know clearly, President Barrow has made a public statement to say that he will want to be the flag bearer of UDP.
Well,
this is why, Mr. Goswell, I'm asking you this question, because I know you know a lot about United Democratic Party. This is why I'm asking you this question, whether he is going to be the flag bearer come 2021 or Lawyer Usaini Dabo.
Well, as I said to you, anybody who has to be a flag bearer will have to go through our process.
Okay.
So, and the process has not been implemented yet. I cannot say anything now whether he's going to be. All I know is there is a way of which somebody could be elected as a flag bearer. And if anybody wants to be a flag bearer of UDP, you know what to do. And it's not going to be where it's going to be given the silver plate for any one of them. The politics has changed.
A lot.
The politics has changed, and it is time for us to address these issues maturely and not to allow ourselves to be embedded with speculations. I see it, I hear it every day. Oh, Barrow Youth Movement, oh, Sinodabu. The most important thing is for them to deliver. We've waited for 22 years. We've seen what Jammeh did, and we are in office. We haven't done even 2 years yet, and we're now talking about succession. We're not in Nigeria, where in Nigeria, somebody's elected today, and tomorrow somebody opens an office, starts saying he's campaigning for the flag bearership for the next 4 years. No. What the people want to know is the bread and butter issues. Job creation, better roads, better schools. These are things that people should be focusing on, and not on what will happen in 2021. I mean, personally, that's what I feel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Gospel.
Pleasure.
It was a pleasure to have you on my show, the Jollof Show with InterFace Gambia. But before you go, I would like you to give me advice on the tour that InterFace Gambia are taking on. Come November the 30th till December the 9th, we're going on a special tour to the Gambia called Mind the Gap, promoting Destination Gambia to the wider world. And of course, to all our viewers of InterFace Gambia, our wider platform whereby you can watch us from Mamo TV's, of course, Diaspora 24, which is a Senegalese TV. And we will be going to the Gambia come November 30th till 9th of December. Our sponsors are GCCI, Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GT Board, Senegambia Beach Hotel, Gambia Hotel Association, Youngs Dabo, Jamil Tarawole, Northern Security Services, Yaye Money Services, and then we have TJ Fit Health International. These are going to be our sponsors to this beautiful trip to the Gambia, Destination Gambia, to promote Gambia to the next level.
Thank you.
What's going to be your advice on this one?
Well, it's a very worthy cause.
Yeah.
And I wish I was around to support it.
Thank you.
And I hope Gambians will come out to appreciate the good work which InterFace Gambia are doing.
Thank you very much.
And it's a worthy cause, as I said, because we need to expose Gambia to the wider world.
That's true.
I mean, we don't have to wait for consultants to come in and start saying, oh, give me 100,000, I can do a business case. We've got the talent, you've got the talent, we've got InterFace Gambia. It's a Gambian product. I welcome the idea.
Thanks ever so much. It was a pleasure having you on the show today. I really appreciate you coming here.
Welcome.
Sorry for the trouble.
Not to worry. It's a pleasure coming in, and I hope to hear from you soon then.
Surely we will have to have you again on our show. Thank you very much, Mr. Gaswell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Yes.
Tu parles français?
Non.
J'ai toujours demandé à personne qui parle.
A date for your diary. Gambian Fashion and Exhibition Weekend. Designers are welcome to register interest. It's all about raising awareness of the fantastic work being done in our community.
Award night, fashion night and exhibition of top class only. This event is sponsored by GAM Designers.
Welcome to the exquisite, luxurious Haven residence. It's beautiful, residential, gives you all the serenity that you would ask for, and it's also private. We have furnished luxurious units which has all the functionalities that you'll expect from your home. Our unfurnished unit you can utilize and furnish at your taste for those who will come and become a resident. The kitchen is fitted, including a laundry machine to do your personal washing. We have flexible options of long and short-term stay with complimentary internet access for our short-term guests. Availability of a standby generator for constant electricity flow 24-hour security service ranging from CCTV surrounding the property. From the rooftop, you can lounge, enjoy the tranquility and the environment. You can see the ocean. Come join us at the Haven Residence, a place of serenity, tranquility, a place that you can call home away from home. Brought to you by Uniglo Properties.
The face of Gambia worldwide is coming to promote Destination Gambia with a difference to the world through InterFace Gambia TV 2018 Gambia Tour from November 30th to 9th December with your presenter, Mr. Lamin Jammeh, The Jollof Show.
Hello, welcome to InterFace Gambia. I'm your presenter Lamin Jammeh with my brand new show called The Jollof Show.
The Gambia Shako Shakanam Rek. This tour is sponsored by Gambia Chamber of Commerce Industry, Gambia Tourism Board, Senegambia Beach Hotel, Gambia Hotel Association, Mr. Yangs Dabor, Mr. Jamil Tarawale, LLB, Honorable Solicitor, Northern Garden Security Limited, Yaye Instant Money Transfer Services Limited, and TJ Fit and Healthy International. With us, the Gambia Shako Shakanam Rek.
Yo, this one for a blessed Gambia. The more